Breaking news for Viking Nation. The first revelation is about to detonate inside US Bank Stadium. Something explosive is brewing in Minneapolis, and if you bleed purple and gold, you better brace yourself because what's coming will shake the very foundations of this franchise. We're talking about for earth-shattering developments that could completely redefine the trajectory of this season. A quarterback timeline that's longer than anyone expected. A battle for the starting position that nobody wanted. An international showdown that could cement Viking dominance. And a trade rumor that might just solve every offensive problem we have. Each of these revelations carries the weight to transform everything we thought we knew about this team. And Viking Nation, you're about to get the inside scoop that will have you questioning everything. The first bombshell cuts deeper than a Minnesota winter because it's about the future we thought was right around the corner, but might be further away than we ever imagined. Hold on to your horn helmets, because the chaos starts right now with a revelation that no one in the Purple Faithful saw coming. J.J. McCarthy's injury timeline just took a devastating turn that no one in Viking Nation wanted to hear. When Kevin O'Connell stepped up to the podium after his international media session, the words that came out of his mouth sent shockwaves through every purple-blooded fan. From Minneapolis to Mankato, the fourth-year head coach didn't just roll out McCarthy for the Dublin showdown against Pittsburgh. He essentially painted a picture of caution so extreme that it hints at a timeline nobody saw coming. We're talking about a situation where the 22-year-old rookie quarterback, who was supposed to be the face of this franchise's future, might not see the field until Week 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. O'Connell's exact words were chilling. He hasn't even thought about a potential overseas return for McCarthy. And when a coach uses language that definitive, you know the situation is more serious than anyone initially believed. The ankle injury that seemed like a minor setback after the Atlanta loss has morphed into something that could define the entire first half of this season. Think about this. We're potentially looking at a scenario where our franchise quarterback misses. Not just the Ireland game, not just the London matchup against Cleveland, but sits out through our bye week while Carson Wentz continues to command this offense. O'Connell emphasized that McCarthy needs to be 100% healthy before even considering a return. And he's not just talking about the physical aspect. He wants to see a full week of practice reps before putting the rookie back on the field. The coach's concerns about McCarthy's mobility, which is such a crucial part of his game, reveal just how significant this ankle issue really is. When O'Connell says it's not going to be okay to just be close because of the risk of setbacks, you realize this organization is taking an approach that prioritizes long-term health over short-term gratification. But here's what makes this timeline so brutal for Viking fans. Adam Schefter initially reported a 2-2 for week recovery, and now we're potentially looking at 6 weeks or more. That's not just a minor adjustment. That's a complete recalibration of expectations for a season that was supposed to showcase our quarterback of the future. The fact that McCarthy traveled to Ireland and London, but won't even be considered for game action shows just how cautious this medical staff has become. Viking Nation, are you ready for the possibility that a rookie sensation might not return until after Halloween? Can you handle the thought that while we're dominating internationally, our franchise quarterback is watching from the sidelines, getting healthier, but not getting the reps he needs to develop? And most importantly, what does this extended timeline mean for the quarterback controversy that's brewing in our locker room? If you're still believing in this team's championship potential despite this setback, drop a comment below and show the Packers fans that Viking loyalty runs deeper than Green Bay's frozen tundra. And just when fans thought McCarthy's extended absence couldn't create more drama, here comes the next bombshell that's dividing Viking Nation right down the middle. Carson Wentz has officially created the quarterback controversy that nobody in Minneapolis wanted to deal with. We're talking about a veteran quarterback who wasn't supposed to be anything more than a bridge. But after that absolutely dominant performance against Cincinnati to 173 yards to touchdowns, and a 48-10 demolition that left Bengal fans wondering what hit them, suddenly we have a legitimate debate about who should start when McCarthy returns. This is the exact scenario that Kevin O'Connell hoped to avoid. But football has a way of forcing your hand when you least expect it. Wentz didn't just manage the game against the Bengals. He commanded it with the kind of point guard mentality that had O'Connell gushing about his veteran leadership. The scary part for McCarthy supporters isn't just that Wentz played well. It's that he made it look effortless while our rookie was struggling through those first 2 games of the season. Remember, McCarthy won that Week 1 thriller against Chicago, But let's be honest about what we saw. It was more about our defense and special teams than any spectacular quarterback play. Week 2 against Atlanta was a disaster that exposed some serious concerns about McCarthy's readiness for the NFL stage. Now we have Wentz stepping in and immediately elevating everyone around him, making the offense look more dynamic than it has in months. The brutal reality is that every game Wentz plays well adds more pressure to a situation that was supposed to be resolved before it even started. McCarthy was drafted to be our franchise quarterback, the face of this organization for the next decade. But football doesn't care about draft position or future potential. When you're trying to win games in the present, O'Connell has already stated that he won't rush McCarthy back until he's 100% healthy and ready to compete. But what happens if Wentz continues this level of play for another month? What happens if the veterans in that locker room start rallying around the quarterback? Who's actually leading them to victories? This is about more than just temporary success. This is about the long-term vision of this franchise colliding with the immediate reality of winning football games. The longer McCarthy stays out, the more entrenched Wentz becomes, and the more difficult it becomes to hand the job back to a rookie who might need time to shake off the rust. Viking fans, you need to ask yourself some tough questions. Are you willing to sacrifice McCarthy's development for short-term success? Do you trust that our rookie can handle the pressure of reclaiming a starting job from a veteran who's been winning games? And most importantly, can this organization navigate the quarterback controversy without it tearing the locker room apart? If you believe Wentz should keep starting as long as he's winning, let the NFL world know by smashing that like button. And if you think McCarthy deserves his job back the moment he's healthy, drop a fire emoji in the comments and show everyone that Viking Nation stands behind our future franchise quarterback. But trust me, the story only gets more intense from here, because what comes next involves international domination and a historical beatdown that's about to remind the entire NFL why the Vikings are absolutely unstoppable on foreign soil. Get ready for the most lopsided international game in recent memory, as the Minnesota Vikings prepare to absolutely embarrass the Pittsburgh Steelers at Croke Park in Dublin. We're talking about a franchise that boasts a perfect 8-0 record in international games, facing off against a Steelers team that hasn't played overseas in 12 years. And the last time they did, it was against Minnesota, resulting in a humiliating 30-7 defeat that Pittsburgh fans still have nightmares about. The numbers don't lie, and they paint a picture of complete domination waiting to happen in Ireland. Pittsburgh's defense, which was supposed to be their calling card, has fallen to 28th in the league, a collapse so dramatic that it's almost incomprehensible how they went from feared to laughable in just one offseason. Meanwhile, our defense ranks in the top 10, and with Carson Wentz running this offense with the precision of a Swiss watch, we're looking at a team that's firing on all cylinders at exactly the right moment. The Steelers managed to score 34 points in their opener against the Jets, but that was clearly an emotional high from Aaron Rodgers facing his former team, because they managed just 38 points in their next 2 games combined. That's not just inconsistent, that's pathetic for a team with championship aspiration. Compare that to our explosive 48-point performance against Cincinnati, and you start to understand why the betting lines have us favored by 2.5 points, even on neutral territory. But here's what makes this matchup even more devastating for Pittsburgh. They're walking into the lion's den of international football, facing a Vikings organization that has turned overseas games into an art form. Kevin O'Connell's system has proven to be nearly quarterback-proof, getting production from multiple starters throughout his tenure. And now he has a veteran in Wentz who understands exactly how to execute in big moments. The Steelers, meanwhile, are dealing with an offensive coordinator who can't seem to figure out how to maximize Aaron Rodgers' talents and a defense that's giving up points at an alarming rate. When you break down the statistics, Pittsburgh is averaging 3 fewer points per game on offense while giving up 7 more points per game on defense compared to Minnesota. That's a 10-point swing that becomes even more pronounced when you factor in the international stage, where experience matters more than anything else. The Vikings have been preparing for this moment all season, understanding that international games can serve as launching pads for special seasons, while the Steelers are simply hoping to survive their first overseas experience in over a decade. Dublin is going to witness something special on Sunday, and it's going to be painted purple and gold. Viking Nation, are you ready to watch our team extend that perfect international record to 9-0? Can you handle seeing Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers get absolutely demolished on one of football's biggest stages? And when that final whistle blows and Croke Park is celebrating another Viking victory, will you be there in the comments section letting the entire NFL world know that Minnesota is back and better than ever? If you believe this team is about to make international history once again, show your purple pride by hitting that subscribe button and prove to every Packers fan that Viking loyalty crosses oceans. And if you thought watching us dominate Pittsburgh was going to be the highlight of this week, wait until you hear about the trade rumors that could completely transform our offensive identity. For the rest of this season, the Minnesota Vikings are being linked to a blockbuster trade that could bring New Orleans Saints superstar Alvin Kamara to Minneapolis and Viking Nation. This move makes so much sense it's almost scary. We're talking about a 5-time Pro Bowl running back with nearly 7,000 rushing yards and over 4,800 receiving yards throughout his 9-year career, a player who has found the end zone 86 times and brings exactly the kind of versatility that could take our offense from good to absolutely unstoppable. With Aaron Jones on injured reserve and our backfield suddenly looking vulnerable, Kamara represents the perfect solution to multiple problems. The Saints are sitting at 0-3 and appear ready to blow everything up, making veterans like Kamara available for the right price. But here's what makes this potential trade so brilliant for Minnesota. Kamara isn't just a running back. He's a complete offensive weapon who averaged almost exactly 500 receiving yards over the last 3 seasons despite missing games due to injury. That's the exact type of production we need to take pressure off our passing game. Whether it's Carson Wentz or J.J. McCarthy under center, imagine Kamara lining up in the backfield with Justin Jefferson stretching the field, T.J. Hawkinson working the middle, and Jordan Addison creating mismatches on the outside. That's the kind of offensive diversity that gives defensive coordinators nightmares. Kevin O'Connell's system is built for players like Kamara, someone who can line up anywhere, create after the catch, and turn short passes into explosive plays. The timing couldn't be more perfect, especially with McCarthy's extended absence creating questions about our offensive ceiling. Kamara would give Wentz a reliable safety valve while providing the rookie quarterback with the perfect training wheels when he eventually returns. We're talking about a player who has thrived in the short passing game throughout his career, someone who could help McCarthy develop confidence while still being explosive enough to create big plays. The Saints are reportedly willing to listen to offers, and with their season already spiraling out of control, they might be motivated to move veterans for draft capital. From Minnesota's perspective, we have the draft picks and salary cap flexibility to make a serious offer, especially if it means adding a game-changing talent who could be the difference between a playoff appearance and a Super Bowl run. Kamara has expressed loyalty to New Orleans in the past, wanting to be a one-team player, but the prospect of joining a potential contender like Minnesota might be enough to change his mind. Picture this scenario. Kamara comes to Minneapolis, immediately upgrades our ground game, provides McCarthy with the perfect security blanket when he returns, and helps this offense reach its full potential just as we're hitting the meat of our schedule. The Saints get draft compensation for a player who might not fit their rebuilding timeline, and the Vikings get the missing piece that could define their championship aspiration. Viking Nation, can you imagine Alvin Kamara in purple and gold, running through defenses while Justin Jefferson torches secondaries? Are you ready for an offensive dynamic that opposing teams won't know how to game plan against us? And when Kamara scores his first touchdown as a Viking, will you be there celebrating another brilliant move by this front office? If you want to see this trade happen, light up the comments section and let everyone know that Viking Nation is ready to welcome another superstar to Minneapolis. And listen closely, because if this week felt like an earthquake with McCarthy's timeline, Wentz's emergence, our Dublin domination, and the Kamara rumors, what's coming next could be the aftershock that topples every expectation for this franchise. We're standing at a crossroads that defines championship seasons, where every decision carries the weight of Super Bowl dreams and every move could be the difference between another disappointing playoff exit and the Lombardi Trophy that Viking Nation has been waiting decades to hold. Think about the narrative that's unfolding before our eyes. A rookie quarterback whose injury might have opened the door for veteran excellence. A team that's about to extend its international dominance, while potentially adding a Hall of Fame caliber running back to an already explosive offense. This isn't just about winning games anymore. This is about building something special that could dominate the NFC for years to come. The McCarthy situation as frustrating as it is for his development, might actually be the blessing in disguise that allows Wentz to establish himself as a legitimate leader while keeping our rookie healthy for the long haul. The Dublin game represents more than just another international victory. It's our chance to make a statement to the entire league that this Vikings team is different, that we're not just playoff contenders, but legitimate championship threats. And if the Kamara trade materializes, we're suddenly looking at an offense that could score on any team, anytime, anywhere. The Saints' loss becomes our gain, and their rebuild becomes our rocket fuel toward a Super Bowl run that nobody saw coming at the beginning of this season. But here's what makes this moment so crucial for every member of Viking Nation. We're not just watching another season unfold, we're witnessing the potential birth of a dynasty. The pieces are falling into place in ways that seem almost too perfect to be coincidental. And if this organization can navigate the McCarthy situation while maximizing Wentz's hot streak, adding Kamara to the mix, and continuing our international dominance, we could be looking at something truly special. The NFC North is ours for the taking, with Green Bay struggling to find consistency and Detroit showing they're not ready for prime time. Chicago is still Chicago, which means they're basically handing us 6 easy wins every year. The playoff picture is wide open, and we have the talent, coaching, and momentum to make a serious run at everything we've ever dreamed about. Viking Nation, this is your moment to choose. Are you ready to believe that this could be the year everything changes? Can you handle the possibility that all these moving pieces could come together to create something magical? Will you be there supporting this team through every quarterback controversy, every international game, and every trade rumor that could transform our future? If you believe this Vikings team is destined for greatness, if you think Wentz can continue his hot streak, if you want to see Kamara in purple and gold, and if you're ready to watch us dominate the Steelers in Dublin, then you better show that passion in ways that shake the entire NFL world. Hit that like button like your Super Bowl dreams depend on it. Subscribe to prove your loyalty runs deeper than Lambeau Field's frozen ground. And drop a comment that lets everyone know Viking Nation is ready to conquer everything in our path. Because the next 72 hours might determine whether we're just another playoff hopeful or the team that brings the first Lombardi Trophy to Minneapolis. The revolution starts now, and it's painted purple and gold.